forgive me if there's like stuttering or long pauses or any of that because I'm reading a script because this is quite long. But yeah. Okay. So there's different parts to this. So I'm going to put like some timestamps up on screen of when I talk about different things. Anyways, I'm gonna start talking because it's quite long. That's why you probably need those timestamps. But yeah, how to use Snagulp. Its use as a swap. Snagulp has an excellent typing for brawler types, but what I didn't realize previously is it's actually a really good bug type counter. So swapping it on Swalder, Terrafly, Sumo Beto, etc. is a good way to get it on the field. For brawlers like Wrestle and Tatap, you can handle with relative ease as you resist its stab by 4 times and have uncommon melee weaknesses, so swapping in and taking hits despite lack of recovery can be worked around, as well as it can hardwall Tatap, which although not the hardest, is useful with how hard it hits, as well as it can't be barded with if clingy. The abilities. Immunize is probably the worst, considering it's immune to one of the most popular statuses, Poison, which is also the go-to for breaking more story looms, which drop of youth Lumians normally fall into that category, as well as not really caring for Paralyze or Burn. I know Freeze exists, but it's not too popular, and is just annoying in general for most Lumians. Marksman isn't the worst, but it isn't the best. The pros are it makes Snagulp a lot less passive, as crits can let it deal good damage as well, as it being able to buck up easily, and crits don't have much of a downside. Cons is it's got other ways to deal damage through more passive means, like poison and forcing swaps with hazards on things like Sumabito and Swalder and things I recited earlier, as well as your other ability is better fulfilling Snagulp's role as a melee tank. Also, it's just more work getting an essay. Cling is ideal because the problem with a lot of drop of youth looms is once they lose their drop of youth, they become really frail, even if they're defensively bulky. But with Clingy, you go from being horrified of Barter and Slapdown, like a toddler seeing their first clown, to being immune to it, which also makes being a melee war in general easier when handling Slapdown Lumians. Sets. My main set is very robust, and I normally use it as a bug, brawler, and occasionally plant type swap. Reason for very robust is you hardwall these, not limited to these, obviously. These are just the first things that came to mind. Sumo Beto, Tatab, Swalder, Terrafly, Wrestlin, Garbantus, Terraclaw, Buzzlin, Beneki, and these next ones are more probably would beat them, but obviously it's not like a hard wall thing type situation. Harvestic, Nevermere, Eurosol, Barbadger, if it's Booze, and clicked Rogue Assault. Like, if it clicked Ice Hammer, then you're in a bad position. It's Breezy, Slasher, Dasho, because they're pretty similar, they're in the same evolutionary line. Gobademic, and Colossotrops. I also want to say you wall Venilin, but Venilin also walls you back and will eventually win. So yeah. Moves. Poison is probably the most important one, as it gives you really good stalling potential, and because Snagulp walls an okay variety of toxic types, you can force swaps on them and poison the counter that they brought in. Airblade / Jetstream is, in my opinion, better than your toxic stab because you can hit other toxic types. Also, Muck Blast / Poison would be walled by toxic types, make it a worse counter for Swalder and Tearfly. But also, Muck Blast could possibly poison, which negates the actual usefulness of the poison move. Provoke is simply so things can't heal, set up, or remove status effects. Also, if they try to provoke you. Gust is good because you wall a lot of barb setters quite well, like Gobademic, Lamello, Serenite, etc. TPs are pretty simple. 200 HP to maximize general bulk, although mainly to be as bulky as possible on the melee side. 200 melee defense to be as melee bulky as possible. 92 energy gets you to 250, and the rest, aka 8 TPs, can either go into range defense or range attack. It honestly doesn't really matter. I hope you enjoyed my TED talk. If you want more of these videos, if you want more of these videos, comment down below. I'm a little worried because I asked Cotton Stoops because he's kind of like the person who came up with that HTUC idea. Um, I'm pretty sure he was fine with it as long as it was formatted differently. But if he wants, like if he sees this video and he doesn't like it, then he could just comment it, and I'll stop in the future. Or if he wants me to, I could take this video down. But yeah, he said as long as it's formatted differently. From what I remember, my memory is very rusty. But yeah, if he's fine with it, and your guys are fine with it, you enjoyed it, then I'll do more. Anyways, thanks for listening to my TED Talk.